it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean, and there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com for Town Hall. A terror attack on Bourbon Street on New Year's Eve leaves at least 15 dead. Senator John Kennedy has angrily promised his constituents in Louisiana answers. The rest of the country deserves answers as well for the incompetence of the FBI in the first 24 hours after an ISIS acolyte drove a rented truck into a crowd of revelers in New Orleans. First, the FBI declared that it wasn't a terror attack, despite the ISIS flag on the bumper of the truck and declarations on the perpetrator's Facebook page making his motive clear. A few hours later, the Bureau not only changed its position, but then declared that the terrorist hadn't acted alone. By the next day, however, the FBI reversed itself again and declared that the terrorist had acted alone. How can Americans have confidence in any information coming from the FBI after that head-spinning 24 hours? The rush to dismiss the terrorism suggests that the Bureau is much more interested in self-serving spin than investigation and transparency. I'm Ed Morrissey.
From breaking news and weather across the country to insight from the brightest minds in conservative opinion, it's Salem News Channel, home to the biggest shows on TV, like Hugh Hewitt weekdays at 6 a.m. Eastern, followed by Mike Gallagher at 9. Join SNC, where facts are sacred, critical thinking is celebrated, and the pursuit of truth is unwavering. Watch Salem News Channel free, now on Xumo Play. Learn more at snc.tv/Xumo.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
AM 560, The Answer. If we want to preserve our constitutional republic, we need an informed and educated citizenry. And that's what this show is all about. Find out what's really happening. It's time to stop the lies and learn the truth. This is The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
All right, audience, thank you so much for joining me. We are back. We are live. The entire show is live. There's nothing pre-recorded this week, nothing at all. It's going to be myself and some really great guests bringing in the new year, talking to you about the stories that are really the most important things to talk about. So I've got a great lineup of guests. We're going to hit some stuff that deals with state and local policy. I've got C. Stephen Tucker. We're going to talk about all this stuff with healthcare that's going on. Especially as it pertains to Illinois, quite frankly. J.B. Pritzker is out there bragging about all the health care reform that he made this year, just, groundbreaking things that he's done. And you would not believe what he's done. Oh, my gosh. They are now going to turn Medicaid into a program where they can hand out all sorts of goodies to people that aren't healthcare related, like housing and additional food support and psychological support, and you name it. So they've basically asked for a 1115 waiver, and guess who's paying for that? You're going to be paying for that, and they're calling it healthcare, and he's calling it healthcare reform. So we're going to get into that a little bit more deeper later in this half hour. I've also got Scott Winslow coming in. He is a longtime Chicagoan, but he actually has deep roots in Argentina, and in fact, he moved there a couple of years ago. So we're going to check in with him to find out how Javier Milei's reforms are going over from his point of view. I mean, Scott's a very knowledgeable guy, so he's well suited to actually give us some on-the-ground response to whether or not Javier Milei is making a difference down there in Argentina, or if it's just bluffery. It doesn't look like it. It looks like he's doing great work. We're also going to be talking with Dan Caulkins. He is a retiring member of the state legislature. He's been there in 6 years, and we're going to ask Dan some tough questions like, did it make a difference? What did you learn in 6 years? As far as I can tell, things are worse off in the state of Illinois in 6 years. So we're going to talk to Dan Caulkins about his tenure in the state legislature. And oh, by the way, the state legislature was in session today. Absolutely, it was there. They showed up, snowstorm and all, doing their job, collecting their per diem. They didn't get anything done. It was a total joke, complete waste of time, but they're in lame duck session. Usually that's typically where bad bills show up and they get passed. The Safety Act got passed in lame duck session. The gun ban legislation got passed in a lame duck session. The governor's $400 million slush fund got passed in a lame duck session. So this is where things can show up that are really detrimental. But right now it's been a complete bust and a total waste of time and taxpayer money. So that's what we're going to talk about. And in the last segment, we are going to talk with Edgar County Watchdogs. And it's going to take a little bit of a different turn. Because unfortunately, what we were faced with in 2025 was one big, huge boom that happened in New Orleans and then again in Las Vegas. And this is particularly concerning to people like myself, Kirk Allen, John Kraft, and many others who served in the military when we find out that in one case it was a veteran, in the other case it's an active duty member who just decided to blow things up. And in one case, murder 14 innocent people, mowing them down during what should have been a happy time. Why is that happening? How are they getting radicalized? This was not some sort of, ISIS. This was not some sort of terrorist that came across the Saudi Arabians, the 19 terrorists who on 9/11 came in, overstayed their visa, figured out how to hijack an airplane and then drove him into the ground. This is not what that is. It's a homegrown terrorist. It's a man who grew up in Texas, who lived in Texas, who served in the military for at least a decade. And then he just turns radical? What is going on? We have got to figure this out. Well, John Kraft has some particular information he'd like to share from his experiences dealing with situations where he has seen people become radicalized while overseas. So we're going to talk to him more about that because we have to get to the root cause of this. None of it makes sense. Absolutely none of it. I mean, and you take the situation in Las Vegas, I can't understand it. Now, there's a lot of people out there reading into apparently emails that he sent at the last moment, text messages that were sent, some sort of manifesto that he sent as well, something related to, anti-gravity drones being driven around the East Coast, insinuating that apparently China's got some sort of drone attack planned. I don't know. I actually don't know because it doesn't make sense. First of all, how do you blow your head off and then at the same time decide to detonate a bomb inside a Tesla truck? I just don't understand how any of that happens. So there's a lot of unanswered questions, not to mention you're 18 or 19 years into a special forces career. You got you're a master sergeant. You've been through a lot of situations. I wouldn't say that any of that stuff gets easier, but I would say that you have coped with it in the past pretty well. And yet it doesn't appear that any of his family, his friends, his teammates, people from his unit, people who knew him, there was any indication whatsoever that this man was planning on, committing suicide and then blowing it up a Tesla truck. And what was his intent behind driving it up to the Trump Tower? Was it just simply to make a big splash, to send a message, which is what is indicated apparently in some of the messages that have come out afterwards? I don't know. I'm not going to weigh into it one way or the other until there's more information because nothing about it makes sense. And I'm not going to dive into some sort of conspiracy theory whatsoever. I just want to figure out what the hell happened. But it's a scary, scary time to be starting 2025 like this. But the best news is that in just about 15 short days, Donald Trump will be at the helm. Donald Trump will be handling decisions about how to go forward with situations like this. Donald Trump will be investigating what's going on. And I have a lot more confidence in Donald Trump than I ever did in the Biden administration or the Obama administration or really any Democrat administration whatsoever. So we're definitely looking forward to that. It has put a damper on things, I must say, but it also shows you the urgency of getting somebody different than Biden in. The guy's he's so destructive to everything that we stand for as America, and he gives you no confidence whatsoever that things are going to be handled well. And then just after you come into an attack like that, what does he do? He hands out the Presidential Citizens Medal to people like Liz Cheney, a total traitor, and then the Presidential Medal of Freedom to people like George Soros and Hillary Clinton. He's completely destroyed the meaning behind either one of those awards, giving it to folks like that. Anyway, we've got a lot to talk about with this show. It's going to be a fast night. We're going to go to break early so we can get Stephen Tucker on healthinsurancementors.com. You'll want to listen into this because he will tell you exactly what to expect in the healthcare industry coming up in 2025.
Mike Gallagher sees relief coming.
Everything that is good about our country, they despise. They are anti-God. They are anti-patriotism. They are anti-law and order. They're anti-family. And finally, we got some normalcy coming back to the country.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hut, hut. Listen up and listen up good. If you're tired of run-of-the-mill gifts, then get on over to aviatorfuel.com. You'll find unique military-style cocktail books and barware to go with it. At aviatorfuel.com, we've got the perfect gift for any soldier, sailor, Marine, or just red-blooded American. You'll especially love our military cocktail checklists, modeled off the real Army, Navy, and Marine pilot checklists that military aviators have used for decades. These award-winning books are authentic replicas, but instead of a procedure on how to handle an engine fire, you'll find the procedure for how to make a mojito, written with military jargon throughout. So pick up a cocktail checklist from aviatorfuel.com. Invite some old friends to share war stories over cocktails. Your perfect libation is inside the cocktail checklist. And don't forget matching military-themed barware. Go to aviatorfuel.com and get ready to raise a glass to the brave men and women who serve our country. That's aviatorfuel.com.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I am a senior citizen, and actually I've seen the commercials, and I started taking it because I thought, well, that sounds like a really good idea.
Well, I saw it. We watch Fox News, and I saw it on there, so I thought to order them. And I'm telling you, it's terrific stuff.
It makes me feel good, so me and my wife both enjoy it, you know.
Because I can't do it without my Balance of Nature.
We've maintained it without taking a lot of food supplements we had been taking. We stopped and are just using Balance of Nature supplements.
Happy New Year! Start the year right and get big savings on Balance of Nature supplements with our limited time New Year's deal. Sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set, plus a free fiber and spice supplement. Go to balanceofnature.com and get this exclusive New Year's offer by using discount code Chicago.
Come on with this, people. Move it!
Did you really think you could make that company deliver yourself?
Oh, I cannot handle any more traffic.
You could be getting much more done at your place of business.
I've wasted 45 minutes and now this place is gonna close.
Time is money. Let Quick Delivery Service take on the traffic hassle for you. They'll deliver almost anything, from large pallets of materials to important documents, or both. No forms, no labels, no scanning. Just tell Quick Delivery Service where it's going, they'll pick it up, and get it to your destination quickly. Your cargo delivery is tracked in real time with GPS. Notifications are delivered right to your inbox. Visit quickdelivery.com. That's quickdelivery.com. Or you can deliver like this.
Seriously, another train?
Or get your delivery there on time with quickdelivery.com. Or call 847-534-2244. 847-534-2244.
We now return to The Real Story. Here's your host, Jeannie Ives.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for joining me tonight on The Real Story. Hey, listen, if you can't tell, I have been a little bit under the weather. You can hear it in my voice. But, you know, I'm not really one to go to doctors much. We have health care. We have, in fact, very, very good health care insurance through my husband's employer. I just don't use it. I rather just try and figure it out myself, and most of the time I usually do. But that's not the case. Usually people who need health insurance, I mean, it's absolutely important that they have it. You have to. I mean, otherwise you get a bill from these. You get a bill, you just go to the ER for something small. Oh my gosh, you're talking about a $10,000 bill. It's ridiculous. So health insurance is really important, and there's nobody better to talk about that than C. Stephen Tucker. He is healthinsurancementors.com. That's his website. He's been in the health insurance industry for a long, long time, where he has sold a number of insurance products. He is probably the most knowledgeable person on the Affordable Care Act, a.k.a. Obamacare. I think he's the only one who's actually read the entire thing. And correct me if I'm wrong, Stephen, but didn't you actually get invited to the White House because you knew so much about the ACA under the first Trump administration?
I was not. I was welcome to Springfield.
Okay.
And when I went to Springfield, they did not listen to my testimony. That was a 7-hour waste of my time. And then, as you may remember, they were seeking to limit non-ACA plans, non-Obamacare plans, also known as short-term plans, and limit them from 12, 24, and 36 months in duration, as President Trump authorized. These plans are half the price of ACA qualified plans because they don't cover maternity, they don't cover pre-existing conditions, but they include national networks, which we no longer have with ACA plans in Illinois, sadly, and they're half the price. And so President Trump made them last for up to 3 years, locked in premium for 36 months. Imagine that. No rate increase, no having to reapply for 36 months, and having national access. Well, that's gone thanks to one of the, quote, reforms that J.B. Pritzker signed earlier last year, making all short-term policies, not even 6 or 3 months, but all of them, illegal for sale statewide, January 1st of 2025.
Yeah, no, that's what I really wanted to talk to you about. I mean, he called these junk insurance plans, yet a number of people found them to be the most affordable way that they could manage their insurance needs, especially if they were in between jobs. So you're saying that he got rid of, I thought it was only short-term, like real short-term. You're saying when he said short-term, it's all of those up to 3 years.
All short-term policies of any duration, are illegal for sale as of January 1, which is just utterly ridiculous, but then again, it's Springfield we're talking about. So
okay, but he touts this as a really big victory for him. It's one of his top things that he's been discussing in the closing year days of 2024 under his accomplishments list is getting rid of these plans. Now, other states you can get these plans.
Yes, well, you could get them for up to 36 months in most free states like Indiana and Florida, rationally led states. And then Joseph R. Biden was very busy in late 2024, or whoever is helping him draft legislation. I doubt that it's him. But in the Federal Register, he entered in a new regulation that reverses President Trump's extension of short-term plans to 36 months down to a maximum duration of no more than 3 months, even in free states like Indiana and Florida. Now you can buy them for 3 months maximum with a 1-month extension if necessary. So all of these policies, which are major medical policies, granted they don't cover maternity, granted they don't cover sexual reassignment surgery, granted they don't cover pre-existing conditions, but if you do not need those things, they are half the price. And unlike any ACA policy left in the state of Illinois, you can actually get national coverage with short-term policies, or could, before J.B. Pritzker and Joseph R. Biden went to work with their pens and phones.
Well, that's not all that he was busy doing, because at the same time that he is actually making it tougher for regular individuals to get the insurance that would fit their needs, he has then went around and asked for a 111 waiver from the Biden administration that, get a load of this, it covers health-related social needs. And these are social determinants of health and health care. And I mean, these could include housing support, medical respite, food, and nutrition. And it also includes, looking at ways to help those who were previously incarcerated get back on their feet. And they're calling this part of a Medicaid waiver plan.
Yeah, 1115 to be exact. Don't forget art class, to help you emotionally become calmer. We're now paying for art classes. Has anybody told them, the lawmakers in Springfield and J.B. Pritzker, that we have a $3.2 billion budget deficit in Illinois. Not surplus, it's a deficit. Where is this money coming from to provide rental assistance for people and art classes and all this other stuff that's not Medicaid related? We already, under the ACA, made Medicaid the largest line item on every state's budget. It used to be a safety net for children of the poor, for pregnant mothers, for those who are developmentally disabled. And it is still today, arguably, the most immoral thing they did under the ACA, and now they're doing under Springfield legislation in Illinois, is they've expanded these programs to capable people, meaning those who are not disabled. They've expanded billions of dollars in benefits, and every time they expand it to these pet projects like rental assistance and art class and everything else they're now expanding it to, it robs money from those who the program was originally designed to help, and that is those who cannot help themselves.
Well, okay. Speaking of the numbers, the other thing that he applauded and patted himself on the back for was that they have a 73% of their current Medicaid customers have retained their coverage because they've been so good at processing through the redeterminations. And they said there was 3.8 million people in Illinois that were Medicaid customers, and they're processing through 3.3 million right now. I mean, you're talking about 25 to 30% of Illinois' population on Medicaid.
Yeah. Most pregnancies now are covered by Medicaid. It has been expanded to such a level. It really is shocking, and it's going to have to collapse sooner or later. You cannot continue to fund these pet projects. You can't do it. And the people who will be hurt the most are those who can't help themselves. And that's the most immoral thing about it. It really breaks my heart what they're doing. But they call themselves heroes for doing it.
Yeah, I mean, so as far as the state goes, I mean, you did a really good interview with Proft earlier in December, talking about some of this stuff. But one thing you said is that on January 1st, which just passed, we lose Blue Cross Blue Shield national PPO ends in the state of Illinois. Why is the legislature not addressing something like that? That seems like that's terrible.
Well, you remember the last time you tried to improve things, remember? And the insurance lobbyists flooded your office in Springfield.
Yes.
When we tried to put in legislation that would stop providers from coming out of PPO networks and HMO networks in the middle of the year, right?
Right.
Forcing them to at least stay in until open enrollment. Of course, what happened? The insurance lobbyist is so powerful that nothing good can happen. And that's the same thing is happening with Medicare Advantage plans. And the money we're wasting on that, taxpayers are wasting on that without any proof of improved patient care. So all of this is happening. This is one of the things that I'm really hoping for is that DOGE, the new incoming Department of Government Efficiency program, addresses issues like this, especially in Medicare Advantage and especially in Medicaid, because if they don't address it, I don't know who's going to do it because the Biden administration is not doing it.
Well, the 1115 waiver that they got goes through 2029 that allows for them to call rental assistance Medicaid a Medicaid program. So I don't know. I don't know if we can reverse that or not. But legislatively, it's an easy cut to make. I personally think it's a way that they're trying to hide rental assistance to illegal immigrants. Is they're shoving it into a Medicaid line item and people can't find it. I think this is all a transparency problem.
It could very well be. I mean, they already spent $1 billion, right? And those people who they were giving Medicaid to, those who are not here legally, they had private, like PPO-like health insurance, as opposed to Indiana or Illinois residents who had an HMO-like Medicaid program, and still do today, by the way. So you could be right. You really could be right. That's
yes.
what their hidden plans are.
Well, we have just a few minutes left. I want to turn to this because it's been such a hot issue, and it doesn't appear that it's going away. And Wall Street Journal has been doing a couple of long investigations into Medicare and specifically Medicare Advantage. And they kind of go after United Health Group a little bit and other giant insurers where they've basically, they say, taken billions in extra payments that they probably shouldn't have gotten. How do you feel about this? Do we have an industry problem with how Medicare Advantage is handled, and what is the solution? I mean, nobody wants to say, hey, you're gonna, it's okay to shoot the guy at the top, the CEO. That's never the answer ever. But at the same time, the Wall Street Journal has just been doing one scathing investigative report after another on what's going on with insurance companies and their scams.
Yeah. And they really are, they're a couple of things he pointed in that article are known to those who've been digging into this. One of them is up-diagnosing, where the whole Medicare Advantage system is based on how many diagnoses you can make of a patient, right? And so in the Wall Street Journal article, it talks about doctors who refuse to diagnose their patients with certain conditions because they frankly didn't have them, right? But then United Healthcare, who, by the way, employs the physicians now, they employ the doctors. So the doctor refused to make the diagnosis. So United Healthcare sent out nurses to the homes of the doctor's patients so they could up-diagnose them. And the more diagnoses that they diagnosed them with, the more money, of course, that they would get, right? So the people who pioneered this was not the Wall Street Journal. There were 3 doctors from Harvard Medical School and from the Department of Medicine at Cambridge. And they put out an article on June 10th of 2024, which every American should read, and especially every senior. It's entitled Less Care at Higher Cost, The Medicare Advantage Paradox. It was groundbreaking research and a groundbreaking study they put out. It's linked at our website, healthinsurancementors.com. Click on Medicare and scroll down. But it revealed that Medicare Advantage insurers got $82 billion in overpayments from U.S. taxpayers in 2023 alone. From 2007 to 2024, they got $612 billion in overpayments from U.S. taxpayers without any improvement in patient care. And so this study was really coupled along with everybody else who piggybacked off of it, including the Wall Street Journal. What the Journal did is they dug deeper into how they were doing it by cherry picking, by dropping out of counties so that they're no longer available. Those Medicare Advantage plans are no longer available, or putting prescription drugs into higher tiers, which of course made people who are sicker drop out of their Medicare Advantage plan, further increasing the profits for United Healthcare and Humana and the other carriers who do this. So anybody
Hey, Stephen, I have to leave it there. We have a hard break. It's so great to hear from you, and we'll have you back on to continue the conversation. Thank you so much. See Stephen Tucker, healthinsurancementors.com.
We've started a new year. There's a buzz in the air. With the new incoming administration, what expectations do you have? Will we see a turnaround in the economy? Will inflation come down? And is there a way to stop the chaos on our southern border? Yeah, 2025 comes with some big expectations. And we're here to keep track of the goals. Here's to a great new year together. AM 560, The Answer.
Fox News, I'm Jack Callahan. President Biden has signed the Social Security Fairness Act into law today.
Americans who have worked hard all their lives to earn an honest living should be able to retire with economic security and dignity.
The bill rescinds provisions that limit Social Security benefits from recipients who get retirement payments from public retirement systems. Critics say it could put further strain on the Social Security Trust Fund. Shamsuddin Jabbar, the New Orleans New Year's attacker, apparently scouted the killing zone ahead of time.
Authorities say Jabbar made at least 2 trips to New Orleans in the months leading up to the attack. The FBI says by using Meta glasses, Jabbar recorded himself biking through the French Quarter.
Fox's Madison Scarpino, Louisiana's Governor Landry has ordered a 14-day mourning period for the victims. America is listening to Fox News.
You heard me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too with their 3-week quick start kit for only $19.95. An easy, affordable way to see how it could literally change your life, like it has mine. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective effective it is. Try and it couldn't be easier with their 3-week quick start for only $19.95, less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call to 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. 1-800-4RELIEF. Wherever you're having pain, every day you feel better is a day you live better. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start. Visit ReliefFactor.com. That's ReliefFactor.com, or call 1-800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF for Relief Factor.
Do you know what to do when a car is pulled over on the side of the road? First, reduce your speed. Second, change lanes if possible. Third, proceed with caution. These 3 simple steps can be the difference between life and death. The next time you're on the road, do the right thing. Slow down, move over, and drive like your life and their life depends on it. Sponsored by the Illinois Broadcasters Association. Aired in cooperation with this station. Thanks to the AAA Auto Club for their financial support in the airing of this message.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, doctors Economos, Gave Alice, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidiscipline practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930, 630-830-4930, or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving MyPillow with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss and your gain. For the first time ever, you'll get a standard classic MyPillow for wholesale prices, only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, they're going to offer their entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Get queen-size MyPillows for just $18.88. Upgrade to king-size for only $1 more. Get the body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.88. So go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever and receive free shipping on orders over $75. That's right. Get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88. They have never been offered this low before. They're limited quantities at this price, so the limit is going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY to get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88, the lowest price ever. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a Chicagoland tradition for over 5 generations, combines heritage and innovation in every cup. Our coffee is locally roasted, hot air roasted, and cold blended in small batches to ensure premium quality. Whether you prefer a 12-ounce bag or a 28-ounce bag, or even the convenience of K-Cups, you'll find Papa Nicholas Coffee at your local retailer. Taste the difference that 5 generations of expertise brings. Choose Papa Nicholas Coffee, because great coffee is our family tradition. Visit online at papanicholas.com. That's papanicholas.com.
The Real Story with Jeannie Ives continues on AM 560. The Answer.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for joining me tonight. The phone number here, 312-642-5600. If you want to join in the conversation, that'd be great. 312-642-5600. So I've been wanting to do this story for a little bit, and why not now? Especially as Trump tries to take, well, he's going to be taking the reins. The election will be certified tomorrow on January 6th. That should go on without a hitch. And then he'll get sworn in 14 days from there. And then we're off to the races to try and reform what we've been doing in our country. And I think one of the biggest reforms that he can make is the same thing that Javier Milei has been doing in Argentina, and that is cut spending. Just cut it. You just heard the entire segment I just had with C. Stephen Tucker about Medicaid. Really, we're going to call rental assistance Medicaid funding? They included also in that if you had violence prevention programs, that was going to be considered part of Medicaid funding. Are you kidding me? We are so off track in this country when it comes to spending. And so was Argentina, which is why they were suffering so badly. Well, one of the guys, I got Scott Winslow here. He is the former CEO of Michael Reese Hospital. He was part of a corporate team from Columbia HCA Healthcare. Here you go. We have another healthcare expert on about this. But you know what? I'm having Scott on mainly because he lives in Argentina right now. He's sort of an expat down there in Argentina. He had roots in Argentina, came up and did a lot of stuff here in the Chicagoland area, including graduating from DePaul University. And then he began his hospital management career, which he largely did in the Chicago area. But now he's down in Argentina, and he's watching firsthand what Javier Milei, the new president who just got sworn in just over a year ago, what he's been doing. Listen, a lot of people are excited about him. I got to say, the Wall Street Journal put out an article saying that the hot new trade on Wall Street has nothing to do with crypto, electric vehicles, or artificial intelligence. It's Argentina, the country infamous among investors for serial debt defaults. Well, now people are investing big time in there. So welcome to the program, Scott. Thank you so much for joining me on The Real Story.
Hi, Jeannie. Good to hear from you again.
Yeah, it's great to hear from you. So just give us a firsthand impression of, you've been there the entire time, am I not correct, since Javier Milei took control?
Yes, I've been there about 2 years now. So I was born and raised in Chicago. I was here for pretty much my entire lifetime. I retired down to Buenos Aires in Argentina about 2 years ago, and I'm loving it. I'm having a great time there. Yes, I watched him. I talked to a lot of friends. I'm a member of, as you mentioned, a very large expat community. I have friends. Now, Buenos Aires, for people who have not been there, is very similar to Chicago or New York. There's about a little over 1 million people in the city proper, but it's about 15 million when you take in what we call the suburbs. And so, it's very much divided like it is here. About half of the people love him. His approval rating, Milei's approval rating is about 47% right now. He was elected largely very much like Trump was, and he's doing a great job. His programs are excellent. Now, people may not remember that Argentina was the richest country in the world at the turn of the 1900s. And then it did very, very well. So the architecture and the infrastructure was really exciting. There used to be a phrase, rich as an Argentine. That's what people used to say around the world in the 1900s. But then after the Second World War, about 1946, that's when the famous Juan Domingo Perón became president, and Evita, a lot of people have seen the movie Evita Perón, and he was in love with the National Socialist Party, which was Adolf Hitler and Mussolini. And so he modeled his government after Hitler and Mussolini, which is basically socialist and really state-owned, state-driven, and giving the population everything they need. And, of course, nationalizing all the business, so taking over all the businesses, the airlines, the trains, the mining, et cetera. So the country became socialist about 1946, right after the Second World War, and that tradition continued with a few gaps. Every once in a while, someone would be elected from the right. But it's been socialist since about 1946. And, of course, it went into terrible, 1,000% inflation over the last couple of years. Inflation was running 100% per month at one point.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
And they were facing Weimar Republic, which is what happened to Germany, where you took wheelbarrows full of cash to buy, a few days worth of groceries. They were facing that. And then Milei got elected on his chainsaw diplomacy. You can't spend this way. You can't just print money, print your way out of these problems. You can't just give everything away. For example, my electric bill in Buenos Aires when I first got there was $5 a month. Now that's crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts.
$5. Yeah, so it was subsidized by the government. Everything is subsidized by the government, the transportation, everything. And people want and expect everything for free. So he came in and said, look, the government, everything's going to collapse. if we don't stop this ridiculous spending. And he took his chainsaw approach. He had like 18 government departments, and he brought it down to 8.
Wow.
From 18. Yeah. So, and he just froze all the spending and et cetera, et cetera. So all of those things. And by the way, this omnibus bill that's being discussed right now here in the United States is exactly what Millet did. He fought, and he had the minority in Congress just down there, just like, well, not exactly like, but he had a minority there, and he had to fight to get an omnibus bill to give himself the permissions to do the cuts that were necessary. So now inflation this past November was the last reported month, is down to like 1.5% from 100%.
Well, and it says the economy is growing by 3.9%. So, I mean, that's more than our economy is growing for sure.
Well,
so
he's actually, the Argentine economy on a GDP basis is growing in the top 10 of the whole world. I think it's number 3 in the GDP of the whole world. But there's a point I want to make to you about all this, Jeannie. You and I have talked about these things many times over the years. It's my view, having lived here for so long and now living there, there's 2 kinds of problems. There's social problems and there's economic problems. I would much rather have the economic problems because they're very straightforward. There's a lot of clarity. This is what you have to do to solve the economic problem. Stop printing money, stop spending money, cut the size of government. It's very straightforward. But on the social side, when women decide they don't need husbands anymore to have children and families, when women decide they don't need husbands at all, when men are afraid to get married because 60-70% of marriages are ending in divorce, when the birth rate falls below the replenishment level, as it has now in the United States and many other ways, those problems don't have clear, easy solutions. And those are the problems that are really endemic in the United States. And I keep telling my Argentine friends, hey, your only problem here is money. Those are the simplest to fix.
Okay, Scott, we're going to take a short break because I want to come back to you and discuss this a lot further. A really great conversation. Scott Winslow is with us. He's living in Argentina as an expat now, and he's talking to us about what Javier Milei has been able to do in just one short year. We'll be right back. This is The Real Story with Jeannie Ives.
Can you believe it? 2025 is here. As you start this new year, you have probably been thinking about your resolutions. And let's be honest, your well-being has probably been on top of your list for years. But this year, maintaining your wellness goals is easier than ever with Balance of Nature. Balance of Nature's whole food ingredient supplements have 31 varieties of fruit and vegetable ingredients, from tomatoes to sweet potatoes. No synthetics or added fillers. Finally, a resolution that will be a breeze to keep. Make 2025 the year you feel your best and keep celebrating for years to come. Happy New Year! Start the year right and get big savings on Balance of Nature supplements with our limited time New Year's deal. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set, plus a free fiber and spice supplement. And get this exclusive New Year's offer by using discount code Chicago.
If you own or run a business and you listen to AM 560, you might not realize that the conservative programming that you enjoy is supported by advertisers. Our loyal listeners love to do business with the advertisers they hear every day on AM 560. Now, it probably won't surprise you that there are some businesses who avoid advertising with us because they don't like what we do here. And that's okay, because our audience wants to support businesses that support what we do and think like we think. We would love to have you join the list of successful companies who are already reaching new, like-minded customers. Most AM 560 advertisers have been here for years for one simple reason: they get results. Join our efforts to make a difference in the lives of our listeners who are passionate about supporting our great family of AM 560 advertisers. To learn more, just visit 560theanswer.com/advertise. That's 560theanswer.com/advertise.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com for Town Hall. A terror attack on Bourbon Street on New Year's Eve leaves at least 15 dead. Senator John Kennedy has angrily promised his constituents in Louisiana answers. The rest of the country deserves answers as well for the incompetence of the FBI in the first 24 hours after an ISIS acolyte drove a rented truck into a crowd of revelers in New Orleans. First, the FBI declared that it wasn't a terror attack, despite the ISIS flag on the bumper of the truck and declarations on the perpetrator's Facebook page making his motive clear. A few hours later, the Bureau not only changed its position, but then declared that the terrorist hadn't acted alone. By the next day, however, the FBI reversed itself again and declared that the terrorist had acted alone. How can Americans have confidence in any information coming from the FBI after that head-spinning 24 hours? The rush to dismiss the terrorism suggests that the Bureau is much more interested in self-serving spin than investigation and transparency. I'm Ed Morrissey.
Now, more of The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
Welcome back. This is The Real Story with Jeannie Ives, and I still have on the phone with me Scott Winslow. He is the former CEO of Michael Reese Hospital here in Chicago, and 2 years ago he moved to Argentina, and he is down there. He's been there for the entire time that they went through the entire election process, elected what they call a far-right extremist. He's not. He's just common sense. And he's been able to work in his reforms. This is Javier Milei. He's their new president. He's been able to do some really important stuff because he walked into a mess. Triple-digit inflation, negative net foreign currency reserves, a sliding economy. It was time for austerity. And one of the things he's had to do is he's literally had to sell off state-owned enterprises. And, Scott, we left off talking about how, Argentina, it's easier to fix your economic problems than your social problems. And I 100% agree with that. I don't know. We're in a birth dearth. And I think if you look at Japan or China or Russia or many parts of the European Union and now the United States, it's going to be very difficult to maintain a standard of living when your birth rate is so depleted, and socially speaking, you're not forming families, which are the root of civilization. That is a big problem. It's also a problem probably that most people on the street don't think about at all. I would say never. Most people never speak about it. But from an Argentina point of view, were people very much aware of what Milei needed to do, and were they obviously voted him into office? How's it been for the average person going forward? Have they accepted what the pain that had to come?
So they have. As I said, his approval rating is still at 47% in his first year after making these hard cuts. Inflation gradually slowed during his first year, and it's now down to single-digit percent, from nearly 100%, 40%, 20%, and now it's down to single digits. And it was very hard for many people. You mentioned family, and I want to pick up on that because I always say that Argentina is going to succeed, and it's going to come back for one simple reason. The root of the society in Argentina is very, very strong families. Two-parent households raising good children who value education and hard work. And it's going to come back because there's a nuclear family. Grandmothers, grandfathers living inside the nuclear family. When there's a sick child, one of the things I observed, there was a lot of mentally deformed children in the street. Not a lot, like more. I looked up the statistics, not more than normal. It's actually the same statistic in terms of frequency as the United States. But I saw more of them in the street, kids, mongoloid kind of kids who, really weren't all there. And they were always being led around by the hand. And I was asking, why are there more of these? I looked up the stats. Well, everyone just said, well, we don't put them in homes. We keep them at home and we take care of them. So, of course, they go to the grocery store with us. And, they walk the streets with us. That's why you see more of them here. And that's an example of strong families. Old grandmothers being walked down the street by their daughters and by their husbands, by the way, picking the children up from school. You'll see a middle-aged man with 2 or 3 kids by the hand, walking them home from school. That strong family base is what's going to save that country.
Wow, that's an incredible observation. I think you're absolutely right. And when their economy comes back with a vengeance, what are the sort of natural resources that you think will really help them get on much better footing economically?
Well, just this past week, Millet announced he's going to start a new super program of nuclear energy.
Oh,
and I thought that was brilliant. Well, there's a study that came out at the same time that said those places that have abundant energy are the ones that grow. Actually, the story was about a city here in the United States. I think it was Atlanta, that invested in energy, and it's been growing faster than every other place. So if you have energy, then business wants to be there. If it's stable and cheap energy. So he just announced that he's going to do that, and he said he wants to put these big mega data processing centers that use a lot of electricity and generate a lot of heat. These things for AI and so forth, these data centers that are so popular. Well, half of Argentina is right next door to Antarctica. The Tierra del Fuego is in Argentina. So that's very cold territory. So he wants to put nuclear power in that cold territory where you have natural air conditioning all year round, and put the data centers, and he wants to attract people like Elon Musk and others who want to build, large computer clusters to come to Argentina because I've got the power for you and I've got the air conditioning for you. So you see, these are brilliant solutions. These are in-time solutions, and it's what's going to make the difference. The want and the willingness to think ahead. You mentioned that he's had to sell off industry. Well, it's not it had to, want to. Those are the same businesses that were nationalized.
Right.
They literally took them from private enterprise and paid 10 cents on the dollar when they took them. And Millet said, no, that's not right. Our oil production, our airlines, our railroads should be in private hands. And now he's selling them back.
And so the average worker is still going, they'll probably see a growth in income over time under a private situation.
That already. People are seeing that already. So I talk to all sorts of people. And as I was saying before, there's a huge number of expats down there. I personally have friends from all over the world. Every country in the world are living in Buenos Aires, Argentina. People flock there for various reasons. And so it depends who you're talking to. So I have friends that are hourly workers. Now I'm going to tell you something that will shock you. The average salary in Argentina. So I'll use a lawyer as an example. I have several lawyer friends down there, Argentinian people who studied in Argentina. An average lawyer at a law firm in Argentina makes $500 a month. That's the salary of a lawyer in a law firm.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's hard, but it was falling apart. And people knew it was falling apart, and they knew something had to be done different. They can't just keep electing the same people and doing the same things.
Yeah. Hey, we got to run. Scott, I want to thank you so much for coming on. Really informative, and we'll have you back on to talk more about what's happening in Argentina. Really appreciate it. Scott Winslow, thank you so much. This is The Real Story. We'll be right back.
The American military brings together brave men and women from across the country who have chosen to answer the call when their country needs them most. At aviatorfuel.com, we know the military because we live the military life. With books written by a Navy pilot and run by a hard-working military spouse, aviatorfuel.com is proud of our service and our country. That's why we never compromise on authenticity. Our cocktail books are modeled off the real Army, Navy, and Marine pilot checklists that military aviators have used for decades. But instead of a procedure on how to handle an engine fire, you'll find the procedure for how to make a mojito. From classic recipes to military specials like the Queen of Battle or the Afterburner, our cocktail books have something special for every veteran. So go to aviatorfuel.com and get ready to raise a glass to the brave men and women who serve our country. That's aviatorfuel.com.
on with this, people. Move it!
Did you really think you could make that company deliver yourself?
Oh, I cannot handle any more traffic.
You could be getting much more done at your place of business.
I've wasted 45 minutes and now this place is gonna close.
Time is money. Let Quick Delivery Service take on the traffic hassle for you. They'll deliver almost anything, from large pallets of materials to important documents, or both. No forms, no labels, no scanning. Just tell Quick Delivery Service where it's going, they'll pick it up, and get it to your destination quickly. Your cargo delivery is tracked in real time with GPS. Notifications are delivered right to your inbox. Visit QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com. Or you can deliver like this.
Seriously, another train?
Or get your delivery there on time with QuickDelivery.com. Or call 847-534-2244. 847-534-2244.
We now return to The Real Story. Here's your host, Jeannie Ives.
All right. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the show tonight. I'm enjoying it because I mean, I could just listen to my guests all night long and not even really have to say much, just let them talk. So really appreciate hearing that first-hand look about what's happening in Argentina from Scott Winslow. Listen, we've got a lot more to discuss. Coming up in the next half hour, we have Dan Caulkins, state representative. He's spent 6 years in Springfield. What did he figure out? That's what we're going to be asking him. So we'll be right back after this break to talk with Dan Caulkins. Hold on. This is The Real Story with Jeannie Ives.
Are you heading into the new year with that same old joint pain? Get moving again in 2025 with help from our very good friends at QC Kinetics. You know, everybody's doing it, including Joe Rogan, who recently mentioned his positive results from regenerative medicine on his podcast. Revitalize your joints with advanced orthobiologic treatments at QC Kinetics. No steroids, no drugs, no surgery, no downtime. This is the future of medicine using an array of natural solutions like PRP to attack the pain from arthritis. Want to learn more about how you can refresh your joints, get lasting relief with these amazing treatments? Call QC Kinetics. The consultation is free with Saturday appointments available. Deal with that joint pain now so you can make the most of the new year. Call 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Again, 312-809-5955.
News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app. Or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
27 states feeling winter's wrath. I'm Jack Callahan, Fox News. It's the first major winter storm of the year. It's bringing threatening conditions to more than 60 million people as snow and ice create travel chaos. Fox Weather's Kendall Smith is in Kansas City, Missouri, where it's a blizzard.
It's bringing heavy snow, crippling ice, blizzard conditions, all leading to power outages, numerous road closures. So I want Brian Platt to join me now because, yeah, he is one of the many folks that is helping to get the roads cleared. You are also driving the plow. Is that normal for you?
You know, this is an all-hands-on-deck moment for us. This is one of the most important things we can do as a city to provide services to make sure our roads are open for emergency vehicle access and anyone that needs to use them.
So in terms of how the city went about preparing for this storm, what did that look like for you all?
We started treating our roads Friday morning, early morning, about 36 hours in advance of any accumulation falling.
And so in terms of the roads, obviously there's no cover, but you all have been working around the clock.
The storm is wreaking havoc on flying in the U.S. today as well. FlightAware.com says nearly 1,700 flights have been canceled, more than 7,200 delayed. President Biden travels to New Orleans tomorrow to meet with community members grieving last week's terror attack. Fox's Jared Halpern reports from the White House.
The president says he'll share personal messages with the families of victims of the New Year's Day terror attack in New Orleans.
There'll come a day when they think of their loved one, and they'll smile before a tear comes to their eye. That's when they know they're going to make it, but it takes time.
President Biden says the driver who rammed a truck into crowded Bourbon Street acted alone.
This idea that he's a foreigner coming, he was, I don't know how many years in the military. He had real problems in terms of his own, I think, mental health and what was going on.
The attacker was identified as Shamsud-Din Jabbar, an American citizen from Texas and U.S. Army veteran. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
America is listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Tonight, breezy with periods of snow beginning late evening, accumulating 1 to 2 inches. Lake effect snow can lead to locally higher amounts with a low of 24. Tomorrow, cloudy and increasingly windy with occasional snow and flurries, mainly early, accumulating a coating to an inch. Storm total snowfall 1 to 3 inches. Roads could be slippery for the morning commute. We'll see a high of 29 tomorrow. I'm Jillian Ford on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Atan Hut, listen up and listen up good. If you're tired of run-of-the-mill gifts, then get on over to aviatorfuel.com. You'll find unique military-style cocktail books and barware to go with it. At aviatorfuel.com, we've got the perfect gift for any soldier, sailor, Marine, or just red-blooded American. You'll especially love our military cocktail checklists, modeled off the real Army, Navy, and Marine pilot checklists that military aviators have used for decades. These award-winning books are authentic replicas, but instead of a procedure on how to handle an engine fire, you'll find the procedure for how to make a mojito, written with military jargon throughout. So pick up a cocktail checklist from aviatorfuel.com. Invite some old friends to share war stories over cocktails. Your perfect libation is inside the cocktail checklist. And don't forget matching military-themed barware. Go to aviatorfuel.com and get ready to raise a glass to the brave men and women who serve our country. That's aviatorfuel.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-771-1300. 800-771-1300. 800-771-1300.
Attention American homeowners, you're under attack. Your home and equity could be vulnerable to cyber thieves. There's only one company that completely stops them, and that company is Equity Protect. Equity Protect prevents any attempts to steal your home, equity, and ownership 24/7. Get your free risk report today by texting the word HOME to 94878. That's right, text the word HOME to 94878 to get your free risk report. Keep your equity and legacy safe with Equity Protect.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
AM 560, The Answer. If we want to preserve our constitutional republic, we need an informed and educated citizenry. And that's what this show is all about. Find out what's really happening. It's time to stop the lies and learn the truth. This is The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
All right. Thank you for joining me on this Sunday evening. We are off to a great start. Well, actually not. 2025 start off with a terrible start, especially considering the terrorist attack in New Orleans. And then for some unknown reason, some master sergeant, active duty, just decides to blow himself up after committing suicide. I don't get it. None of it makes sense. But I mean, I think still individually speaking, people have their own goals. They have their own outlook on life. I think, you know, in 15 days, we're going to feel euphoric knowing that we have a new president in office who's watching over us. I think that's all important. Leadership matters. And but in Illinois, guess what? We're still going to be under the leadership of Governor Pritzker. And at the same time that he's still going to be in charge, we're going to be losing some of, I think, one of our best state reps that's been down there for the last 6 years, and that's State Representative Dan Caulkins. He currently represents the 88th State Legislative District, and he is from Decatur. He's a longtime businessman, got into politics after he had already been a successful businessman, came in with a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge about what helps, what makes a business run, and then he goes to Springfield. And yeah, we know government's not run like a business, but oh boy, in Illinois, government's up for grabs. If you're a lobbyist or you're a special interest, that's who it runs for in Illinois. And so here to discuss his 6 years of service, because he is leaving. He's very, very short. He's got maybe about a week left. He'll maybe take some votes during lame duck session, and that'll be it. But he spent 6 years in the trenches in Springfield, bringing up conservative policies, making great floor speeches, putting out op-eds and press releases, and trying to tell people what was going on down there. So he comes on my show now to just kind of have a back brief, a little bit of an after-action report, as we called it in the military, about his time there. Dan, thank you so much for spending some time tonight on a Sunday night to talk about this.
Thank you for inviting me, Jeannie. It's kind of the last hurrah, I think. I've got 2 more days left, Monday and Tuesday. I didn't make it over to Springfield today. We had 6, 8, 10 inches of snow down here.
Well, I don't even know why they had session today. It was a total waste. I mean, I actually watched it. It was a joke.
Well, what about yesterday? We were in
that was a
12
joke
minutes.
too. Yeah. You guys, you collect your $150 per diem per day, and nothing happened. It was a total waste.
Yeah. It was. It's a waste of taxpayers' money, and we're short of that, as you know, just coming up. I mean, this is going to be, somebody better start pinching some pennies, because
well, you
state
know
of
what?
Illinois is on a trajectory here.
Yeah, well, Dan, this is what's great about having this after-action review with you. You came into office the same time Governor Pritzker did. You have the same, you've got 6 years of looking at what this guy did. We know what he did on budget, 32% increase in 6 years, over $13 billion more, tax increases, massive gas and tax increases. I mean, you went in and you probably were pretty optimistic about maybe being able to work together. I mean, I don't know, maybe you weren't as naive as I was when I went down there. I went down there thinking people are just going to listen, right? To reason. Like, don't we all have some common sense? What did you find from when you went in to how you feel about it now?
Well, I did. As all of us in our class that went in together, it was a large class of new legislators, probably one of the largest classes in several years. And we all came off the campaign trail wanting to go to Springfield and change the culture and get spending under control and get our state back on track and get our pensions, fixed, for our employees. And, didn't take, maybe a month and a half. Of course, the first 2 weeks we, adjourned, got sworn in and got our office assignments and then adjourned for 2 weeks. But it was a shock, because I'd gotten to know, several of the folks in our class, and, they were all very bright people. I thought they'd come to Springfield for the right purpose. We'd all kind of had the same trail, in our elections and our campaigns, our speeches and advertising. And, Jennifer Gong Gershowitz was, going to do all this and that. And God,
she's a Chicago Democrat who probably promised all sorts of things like property tax relief and getting spending under control. And
she campaigned. We all did, though. I mean, all of us campaigned on that.
Yep.
And we get actually get in our committees and start talking about legislation and going, well, I've got this bill, and I think this would be good for the people of Illinois. And the committee chairman says, we'll look at it someday. I mean, and it was that for all of us in the Republican caucus. I mean, we've been totally disrespected and disregarded. The Republicans represent every state or every county in this state. We have a Republican district, touches every county in Illinois, 102 counties. And we've been completely blocked out. We've been locked out of discussions, budget. The governor goes on TV and says, everybody's welcome to come in and participate. So you raise your hand and say, hey, I've got some experience here, and I'd like to help you try to solve some of these problems that we're facing. We'll call you. Yeah, don't call us. We'll call you. And that's, this is, and I think the freshman class, our class, was shut out as well. It was just Mike Madigan and Tim Mapes and Lou Lang, and it was that inner circle that had a firm control of the General Assembly, and they weren't going to let anybody, I don't think, anybody get in the way of their agenda.
Right. Well, so you kind of went through the whole, Madigan stepping down, getting forced out by his caucus, then indicted, and then the ComEd stuff becomes unravel. When you think about some of the biggest issues that you tackled in the last 6 years, what would those be? And, were they resolved in the way that they should have been?
Well, we've done some terrible things over the last 6 years, and you mentioned double the gas tax, but one of the things that the General Assembly did, the Democrats in the General Assembly did, was shirk their responsibility to run the state during COVID. They completely walked away. They completely walked away from our responsibility as a legislative branch, and just let Pritzker shut the state down, shut our schools down, shut our businesses down, shut our churches down, shut our nursing homes down. And we, Republicans, particularly the conservative Republicans, continue to ask, where's the science? Tell us what's going on. People may not remember Dr. Ezeki, a very prominent physician who had a tremendous amount of experience, refused to answer questions. And the General Assembly, the House and the Senate, just sat on their hands. The Democrats would not budge. And look at the harm that we've done.
Yep.
Look at the harm.
Oh, $5 billion in unemployment fraud to begin with. That's just the beginning. Plus, school scores still not post-pandemic up to snuff when it comes to SAT and math scores. This has been just a travesty.
Right, and our small businesses suffered and still do. People, one of the unintended consequences was that companies found that they could get their workers to work from home and cut their office expenses. Look at downtown Chicago and the effect of those people not going back to work, the effect on the mass transit system, the people not going back downtown to work, the tax returns, the real estate values, all because the General Assembly allowed Governor Pritzker to lock us out.
And the Democrats,
nothing.
The Democrats basically just let him run the ship, right? There was no pushback.
None from any of them. Any of them. I don't care.
Sidebar conversations with them, where any of them admit that he's gone too far? It was month after month after month after month. It was 3 years of continuous executive orders.
Yeah, I don't know how many. There were just executive order upon executive order.
48 or 49 in a row. Monthly.
Yeah. But there were a couple of Democrats. I get kind of a joke that they wouldn't get within 6 feet of us, because of COVID. No, that's not true. But and another low light. I talk about this.
Hey Dan, hold on, hold that low light in your head. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with Dan Caulkins, state representative, just refreshing our memories of what we've been through for the last 6 years as he sat down in Springfield and had to live through the first 6 years of Governor Pritzker. We'll be right back. This is The Real Story with Jeannie Ives.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka says we're watching the master.
I'm going to ask him right now, would you make it $200 billion on set?
How perfect is that? You've got the guy right next to you. He's just committed $100 billion. Hey, dude, you want to double it? That is the perfection.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
You know, balance of nature is becoming pretty important out there to a lot of people. And when I first started, I was really impressed. I'm a healthcare professional, trained as a pharmacist. So anything that's natural I like. And so it made a lot of sense.
Happy New Year! Start the year right and get big savings on Balance of Nature supplements with our limited time New Year's deal. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set, plus a free fiber and spice supplement with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive New Year's offer by using discount code Chicago.
If pain is affecting your life, I've got the perfect New Year's resolution for you. Make 2025 the year of feeling good again, the year of moving better, sleeping better, feeling more alive. Do it with Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by a team of doctors, it doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Over 1 million of us have turned to Relief Factor. Feel the difference it can make in your life. Give their 3-week quick start a try. It's only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Just takes a phone call to 1-800-4-RELIEF. 800-4-RELIEF. You can start feeling better in 3 weeks or less, and every day you feel better is a day you live better. Wherever you're hurting, back, neck, joints, or muscles, make 2025 the year of feeling good again. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start today. Just go to ReliefFactor.com. That's ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF for Relief Factor.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, doctors Economos, Gave Alice, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidiscipline practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930, 630-830-4930, or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
Now, more of The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
All right. Thank you for joining me on this Sunday evening. State Rep Dan Caulkins is still on the line with me, and he was just talking, you know, kind of doing an after-action review of his time in Springfield. He had talked about COVID being one of the more concerning parts. Honestly, Democrats refused to do anything about Pritzker's tyranny. And he was just getting to the point where he was going to talk about a second sort of overarching lowlight to him during his tenure. Dan, what was that?
Well, there's a couple of them.
Well, there's probably like a dozen. Okay, I can think of a dozen, but go ahead.
Yeah, I can too.
Yeah.
One of them was when Representative Bob Morgan attacked Representative Chris Miller and actually made a referral to the legislative inspector general because Chris was in Washington, D.C. on January 6th, accompanying his wife, Congresswoman Mary Miller, and Bob Morgan accused him of being an insurrectionist and all kinds of absolutely insane things. And actually, the inspector general called Chris in for an investigation. Chris asked me to come and witness it. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Oh my gosh.
It was a witch hunt. So there was a low light. Another one was when our members joined the Democrats and voted to expel Darren Bailey because he didn't have his mask on at the Bank of Springfield Center. We were separated by 6 feet. He had tested negative for COVID. He had taken his mask off and just said, this is insane. And so and Republicans voted to expel Darren Bailey from the Bank of Springfield Center for not having a mask on.
So were you more disappointed in the Republicans or the Democrats over the 6 years?
Pardon?
Were you more disappointed in the Republicans or the Democrats, or more shocked at, I guess, some of the outcomes?
There's a softball.
Well, I know it's probably a little bit politically tough to answer.
No, it's
you don't
not.
want to dish, but I mean, honestly,
no,
they haven't had a backbone.
I've been very disappointed.
Okay.
No, I've been very disappointed with the Republicans in the House. When you have the minority leader vote for the gun confiscation bill, Jim Durkin, I mean, he's the leader of the Republicans, and it's it's been declared unconstitutional, even though it's still in the court. It's still, and the governor admitted it, and Durkin voted for it. I mean, the leader of the Republicans voted for an anti-Second Amendment bill that became law that's currently in court. Got to sue the government to get your rights back.
Yeah.
We have a current leadership that I think is wanting. I'm not sure that the people that are leading the Republican caucus are really leaders. You just saw what the speaker just did, who he just hired. He just hired two very high-powered, radical Democrats to be his chief of staff, and I think second in command to them. I mean, they're geared up. They're geared up for a very leftist charge through the next 2 years of the General Assembly. And we have what? I mean, we just don't have anyone in our leadership willing to stand up and take them on. I mean, it's very disappointing. The one thing that it has done is, made the Illinois Freedom Caucus very relevant.
Absolutely. You guys have done a great job. You're the only opposition force down there.
Yeah, which is sad.
Well, and you get a lot of press because you actually say things that I think most Illinoisans would agree with that make sense.
Well, but they're just things that we should be talking about. School choice is another disappointment.
Big disappointment.
Yeah, we didn't get Invest in Kids renewed, which I think goes to probably one of the more eye-opening experiences that I've had, and that is the lobbyists and how they run the agenda in Springfield.
So they basically ran that. They ran that. The teacher union lobbyists are the ones who killed the Invest in Kids scholarship program, and they did it with the help of Republicans. Right,
but that's just one group. I mean, there isn't. I don't think there's anything that gets through a committee that isn't supported by the lobby factor. I've been told, and it's the same guy, Bob Morgan, I had a bill that I thought would be good for everyone in Illinois. And yeah, it made Facebook, Meta, mad, and their lawyer mad. And Bob Morgan said, well, this is a pretty good bill, but we're not going to call it until all the opposition is off. Well, how do you do something that's going to make life better for everyone when the people that you're trying to put the pressure on and the people whose behavior you want to adjust oppose it, and then the committee chairman won't call that bill because a lobbyist doesn't like it? I mean, that was a real eye opener for me, and that's the problem. And the lobbyists, I mean, you know from your own personal experience, they stand around up on the third floor for the House and down on the first floor, and I mean, it's amazing the number of lobbyists that hang around Springfield every day.
Yeah, there's probably like 10 lobbyists for every single legislator down there, easily.
Very well, it could be.
I mean, I think that there are. So
that was a real eye opener for me. Mm-hmm. I mean, because I really, naive, I guess you could call it. I really thought that we were there to try to make life better for the people of Illinois. not for special interest groups.
So
And
how about holding government accountable? I mean, I always had a problem with the fact that they would pass these bills and say, oh, we're going to have 2,000 solar jobs in minority communities. And does anybody ever check up that there's 2,000 solar jobs that came out of the FUJA or the CEJA Act? Does anybody check on anything? How do we know our money, even when they allocate it in ways that we don't like, how do we even know that the money was used in that way? We don't. I think there's zero accountability.
There is zero, and these are all slush funds buying votes, and
yes,
and it's the same thing with the recreational cannabis. You know, they got the Black Caucus to agree to, you know, to this bill for recreational cannabis because they promised them they'd have a seat at the table. They were going to get dispensaries and jobs and all this and that. That never happened. Gambling, same thing. I mean, you know, with this, you know, the social things that we've done, abortion, gambling, recreational cannabis, are absolutely devastating to minority communities, particularly here in Illinois. And yet the minority caucuses go along with it.
Well, after they get their carve out for their special part of the cut in the deal, then they go along with it.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I think it's going to be very interesting when the new administration, you know, cuts all this Green New Deal stuff out. We can't afford it. It's not working. You're seeing in other states and other countries that are going back to coal and natural gas because they can't meet the demands. You know, and we're promoting these high-tech centers that are going to take a huge amount of water and electricity, and we don't have it.
Yeah.
We don't have it. Not with windmills and solar panels.
Do you feel though like the Democrats is it willful? Is it willful on their part not to connect the dots? Are they always just really being told what to do? I think that's willful. I think that they are just being told what to do and they don't care. They know they have to toe the line to get reelected.
Oh, yes. No, I think that, you know, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I, you know, I don't say this often, but these, you know, these people don't, I don't know how you have to wake up every day and go to work and wait for someone to hand you a piece of paper with a list of bills and tell you how to vote.
Yep, that's what they do. Hey, Dan, we've got to leave it right there. I want to thank you so much for coming on, but I have a hard break in 10 seconds. Dan Caulkins, State Representative, 88th District, you've done a great job. Thank you so much for serving for 6 years under Pritzker. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. We'll be right back with the real story. Okay, you're welcome, Dan. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Larry Elder sees Trump already getting tough.
If they're paying their bills, and if I think they're treating us fairly, the answer is absolutely, I'd stay with NATO.
And Barack Obama complained about NATO not paying its bills. George W. Bush complained about NATO not paying its bills. Donald Trump complained about NATO not paying their bills. And guess what? NATO began to step up and paying their bills.
The Larry Elder Show, weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
Fox News, I'm Daria Albinger. The first major winter storm of the year has left much of the nation's midsection a frozen mess, and supermarkets pretty much picked over.
Shelves are empty. These lines are long. Honestly, all we're trying to do out here is be as nice to each other as possible because we're all doing the same thing.
She's an Instacart shopper in Kansas City, which is now under a blizzard warning. That storm, by the way, is expected to move into the mid-Atlantic states just in time for the morning commute. The FBI wants to know more about where Samsudin Jabbar was in the weeks and months before the deadly New Orleans New Year's Day attack.
We're looking at who has he encountered during those trips? Who is he meeting with? Where has he traveled while in those?
Special agent in charge, Leonel Murthel. Tomorrow marks 4 years since the riot at the U.S. Capitol. America's listening to Fox News.
On with this, people. Move it!
Did you really think you could make that company deliver yourself?
Oh, I cannot handle any more traffic.
You could be getting much more done at your place of business.
I've wasted 45 minutes and now this place is gonna close.
Time is money. Let Quick Delivery Service take on the traffic hassle for you. They'll deliver almost anything, from large pallets of materials to important documents, or both. No forms, no labels, no scanning. Just tell Quick Delivery Service where it's going, they'll pick it up, and get it to your destination quickly. Your cargo delivery is tracked in real time with GPS. Notifications are delivered right to your inbox. Visit QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com. Or you can deliver like this.
Seriously, another train?
Or get your delivery there on time with QuickDelivery.com. Or call 847-534-2244. 847-534-2244.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, doctors Economos, Gave Alice, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidiscipline practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930, 630-830-4930, or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order leaving MyPillow with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss and your gain. For the first time ever, you'll get a standard classic MyPillow for wholesale prices, only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, they're going to offer their entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Get queen-size MyPillows for just $18.88. Upgrade to king-size for only $1 more. Get the body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.88. So go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever and receive free shipping on orders over $75. That's right. Get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88. They have never been offered this low before. They're limited quantities at this price, so the limit is going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY to get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88, the lowest price ever.
If you own or run a business and you listen to AM 560, you might not realize that the conservative programming that you enjoy is supported by advertisers. Our loyal listeners love to do business with the advertisers they hear every day on AM 560. Now, it probably won't surprise you that there are some businesses who avoid advertising with us because they don't like what we do here. And that's okay, because our audience wants to support businesses that support what we do and think like we think. We would love to have you join the list of successful companies who are already reaching new, like-minded customers. Most AM 560 advertisers have been here for years for one simple reason: they get results. Join our efforts to make a difference in the lives of our listeners who are passionate about supporting our great family of AM 560 advertisers. To learn more, just visit 560theanswer.com/advertise. That's 560theanswer.com/advertise.
We now return to The Real Story. Here's your host, Jeannie Ives.
All right, welcome back. This is The Real Story with Jeannie Ives, and it's obviously who's watching. The Watchdogs are watching, and they've been watching for a long time. We're going to take this just a little bit different, my discussion with the Watchdogs today, after John wrote me an email, and I don't know if this was a reaction to my email that went out this morning. My morning email, my Sunday morning email goes out. You guys can sign up for it at breakthrough-ideas.com. And in it, I did discuss a little bit about the Special Forces Master Sergeant who decided to shoot himself and then immediately blew up the Tesla truck. I discussed that. I also discussed how is it that this homegrown terrorist became radicalized. To which John told me what happened when he, was getting a briefing in Saudi Arabia and then later on went to Saudi Arabia. And I wanted John to share that with my audience so that you could maybe understand a little bit more of what's happening, and because if we don't understand, if we don't know things like this is happening, then we can't fix it, and we have to fix it. So, John, I'm just going to turn it over to you about what you went through when you were at Fort Bragg and then had to deploy to Saudi Arabia.
Well, Jeannie, thanks for having us on again. Happy New Year. My comment was mainly geared towards the New Orleans incident.
Mm-hmm.
When I read his former commander, Colonel Groan's comments that was published, and he said, during his tenure, Jabbar worked quietly and professionally, ensuring all the little things that kept us all connected to home were done with care. He was a great soldier, someone who showed discipline and dedication. And he said it was with utter disbelief that how somebody who once embodied quiet professionalism could harbor so much hate, leading to these atrocities. And I thought about what happened. This was like 2003, I think. I was at Fort Bragg. We attended a 10-day, security briefing on the country that we were going to. I was going to Saudi Arabia. One of the instructors there mentioned, and there were about 15 of us going as a group, mentioned that, at least one of you guys are going to change your religion while you're in country. And we all looked at each other like, this guy's full of crap. That's not going to happen. But it certainly did. After 3 or 4 months in the country, me and a couple other people started noticing this one as a senior NCO in E7 with about 19 years in the Army, just started acting all kinds of crazy. He would change his movements, his attitude changed. He wouldn't talk to anybody. We all had our own vehicles, had our own houses. He'd leave in the middle of the night, come back early in the morning, getting in local Saudi people's vehicles a couple blocks away from the house. He wouldn't tell us where he was going or why he was going. When he was going in and out of his house, he'd climb in and out of the windows instead of using the doors. He'd park his truck in front of other people's houses instead of his own. His computer quit, and he wouldn't let me even look at the screen to fix it, so he just quit using it. And then he just refused to drive his own vehicle. So I told our colonel that he needed to call the Fort Bragg commanding general and get this guy removed. And within 48 hours of me explaining everything that's going on, that guy was on a flight back to Fort Bragg, and he wouldn't leave his hotel room once he got to Fort Bragg. The MPs had to force him out of the room to go see the commander, and they ended up getting him out of the military. I mean, a guy with 19 years in the military just throws it all away. I don't know why it happens, but, the people in Fort Bragg give us our classes. Apparently it's common. And after I sent you this email, I was thinking, well, we do have, service members that stay in Germany when they get stationed over there. They stay in Japan when they get stationed over there. They stay in Korea when they get stationed over there. And certainly this isn't much different other than, the reasons why some people do things. It's just, and the military's got to know what's going on, and I don't understand why they don't, further prepare the people that go to places that may harbor ill will towards the United States, prepare them further before they go to make sure that this doesn't happen to them. I mean, I don't know what the answer is, but it just made me think of that situation. When I found out that guy in New Orleans was, in the military, and I believe he deployed overseas.
Well, I guess to some degree, and maybe we'll bring Kirk in on this conversation too. I'm glad that his commander has spoken up. I did not see that he had made those remarks, that he saw nothing wrong with him and his service was exemplary. That's good to know that there wasn't warning signs that were just brushed over. But Kirk, do you have any opinion on this? I mean, I don't have necessarily an opinion. I don't have an answer because I don't think we know enough.
Well, as far as, and thanks for having us and Happy New Year as well. As far as his commander not seeing any signs and whatnot, well, of course that's what they're going to say, because he's not about to admit that, yeah, we saw some stuff, but we didn't do anything. So those type of comments don't surprise me. I had the same type of briefings when I deployed. Every GI has, had those briefings when you're going to a foreign country. And there's all kinds of cautionary things depending on which country you're going to. So they do know about it. The question is, what's being done to prevent those type of things that they, are warning everybody of? I don't know. I never went through any prevention programs. We just said, hey, or we were told the same thing John described. You're going to see X, Y, Z, so be prepared. Well, what do you mean be prepared? So I think it's a huge failure that we just haven't really put much stock in, because it hasn't come back to bite us. And as you can see, it is now coming back to bite us. It's years of, complacency.
Well, I can say that that was the only place I was ever sent that we didn't have a chaplain. We generally took a chaplain with us everywhere we went, and they wouldn't allow him in the country, and so we went, 13 months without a chaplain. I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not. I don't know.
Well, I mean, because I know people who have been over in Afghanistan specifically, I know that they have been witness to all sorts of perversions that have nothing to even do with combat, but just are perversions that have got to absolutely screw with your mind at some point if you're not on solid footing, if you haven't been sort of debriefed about what you just saw or what you allowed to be seen. And I'm talking about, of course, sexual perversions towards children. And our troops have been having to witness that. There's a lot of stuff I think that many people carry around with them, sites that they've seen, things that they've not been able to, obviously take care of, like they would like to take care of, because they can't culturally involve themselves in certain things. And that's probably got bothersome too. I'm not saying that was the situation. I'm just saying I agree with you. I think that our troops are seeing some stuff that that you would probably never see typically here in America.
Oh, there's no question of that.
So anyway, well, I just did want to kind of talk to you about that. What about this second situation? Let's talk about that after the break. And then I wanted to also just mention Jim Mason, his passing, and how I got to know Jim and how I introduced him to you. So I want to talk about that too, because this is the type of work that the Watchdogs have been doing for 10 years and obviously even longer, because you were a watchdog over there in Saudi Arabia, John, weren't you? So we'll be right back with the Watchdog.
Somewhat.
What was that?
Somewhat.
Yes, you were. Okay, we'll be right back after this short break with John and Kirk.
The American military brings together brave men and women from across the country who have chosen to answer the call when their country needs them most. At aviatorfuel.com, we know the military because we live the military life. With books written by a Navy pilot and run by a hard-working military spouse, aviatorfuel.com is proud of our service and our country. That's why we never compromise on authenticity. Our cocktail books are modeled off the real Army, Navy, and Marine pilot checklists that military aviators have used for decades. But instead of a procedure on how to handle an engine fire, you'll find the procedure for how to make a mojito. From classic recipes to military specials like the Queen of Battle or the Afterburner, our cocktail books have something special for every veteran. So go to aviatorfuel.com and get ready to raise a glass to the brave men and women who serve our country. That's aviatorfuel.com.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I take it because it makes me feel good. I mean, so that's why I take it.
My husband is over the moon about it, so I'm reordering.
I feel better.
He's been on it for 8 months, if not longer. He took it for a while, for like 3 or 4 months, and then he stopped taking it. And then once he stopped taking it, he was like, I need that back again. So we started doing it again. But I'm telling you what, it's amazing stuff. It truly, truly is.
Happy New Year! Start the year right and get big savings on Balance of Nature supplements with our limited time New Year's deal. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set, plus a free fiber and spice supplement with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive New Year's offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com for Town Hall. A terror attack on Bourbon Street on New Year's Eve leaves at least 15 dead. Senator John Kennedy has angrily promised his constituents in Louisiana answers. The rest of the country deserves answers as well for the incompetence of the FBI in the first 24 hours after an ISIS acolyte drove a rented truck into a crowd of revelers in New Orleans. First, the FBI declared that it wasn't a terror attack, despite the ISIS flag on the bumper of the truck and declarations on the perpetrator's Facebook page making his motive clear. A few hours later, the Bureau not only changed its position, but then declared that the terrorist hadn't acted alone. By the next day, however, the FBI reversed itself again and declared that the terrorist had acted alone. How can Americans have confidence in any information coming from the FBI after that head-spinning 24 hours? The rush to dismiss the terrorism suggests that the Bureau is much more interested in self-serving spin than investigation and transparency. I'm Ed Morrissey.
You're listening to The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
Welcome back. I still have the Watchdogs with me. We were just discussing the radicalization that occurred, obviously, with the former U.S. Army member, veteran, who plowed into people, killing 14 innocent folks and injuring another 35 down on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. It's an absolute tragedy. It's even worse because he's affiliated with the U.S. military. Kirk served, John served, I served. We don't understand it. I don't understand also. And just a minute or two on this one, but does anybody understand a master sergeant, essentially blowing his head off and then blowing up a truck? I personally don't understand anything about that situation at all. And then you've got all these emails that were sent or text messages or a manifesto that he found, allegations that he was being pursued. And I don't know, it just seems all very strange to me.
He obviously had other mental problems going on.
Yeah, I think that this is PTSD and a suicide, but I don't know. John?
But, once again, his command had to know something was wrong at some point.
You would think there would be warning signs from family, friends, or unit members. But like Kirk had mentioned before, they are not willing to admit it.
Yeah, but keep in mind, especially with PTSD, it's much like here in Illinois with any mental issue. If you go and seek help, well, in Illinois, you're going to lose your gun rights. So a lot of people that need help don't ever seek it because they don't want to give up their Second Amendment. And you take a soldier, a special ops soldier that may have had, some type of traumatic brain injury or PTSD. Well, the stigma of going and getting help, you're taken out of the combat role. And, that's why they don't go, because of the I won't say the punishment, but the ramifications of actually trying to get help bear a bunch of negative things to your life and your lifestyle. And that's why a lot of these guys never do seek the help that they need.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think of all the other communications surrounding this? Innuendo, not true. I mean, it just feels like people are digging up conspiracies.
Well, and I think a lot of that's contributed to the fact that we have seen so many inconsistencies out of our government. Mm-hmm. It's very hard to believe our government. And yes, that's a dangerous position to be in. And we've talked about that for years. If you can't trust your government, we got bigger problems.
Well, I think you're right. Okay, so hopefully in 15 days, we will, maybe get some answers, because we'll have a whole new administration that is committed to transparency, and especially when it comes to our intel agencies. So maybe we will get to the bottom of this, because even the stuff about the drones that have been flying around New Jersey, even that stuff, like, we should know what's going on. This shouldn't even be a question. And nobody feels like they were getting a straight answer here.
Well, we don't even know what happened with the real story with all the balloons from earlier.
That's
How are we
right.
going to find out about the drones?
I don't know. Okay, the last thing that I wanted to talk about was Jim Mason. He's a little, I'm going to be honest with you, a bit eccentric. But boy, he was a really profitable real estate developer in Northern Illinois University. And I met him when he just randomly called my office when I was a state rep and said, "Hey, I heard you on the radio about remarking on your investigation of College of DuPage," and he wanted to meet with a couple of colleagues to discuss some information they have on Northern Illinois University. And I thought, okay, well, that's great. Let's get together. And we met. This had to been in 2015. We met in 2015, and one thing led to another. And 2 years later, there's a full-blown OEIG investigation based on the information that you, along with Jim Mason, put together to just uncover a lot of malfeasance, a lot of flat-out breaking our laws by Dr. Baker, the former president of NIU.
And the ironic part of that, when that went down, Jeannie, everybody locally blasted Jim and blasted us. Oh, that's not true. There's nothing to that. Everybody found everything under the sun to defend that university. And when the OEIG report came out that basically confirmed everything that we wrote about, it was priceless.
Yeah. I mean, it was great.
And Jim was living it. He was right there. I mean, that was in his backyard. He watched this go on all the time and finally said, "I've had enough. This has to stop. We need more people just like him."
Yeah, no, I mean, it is remarkable. I mean, it's the only reason that I happen to know. I mean, I guess it's the power of radio, and it's the power of people tuning in and hearing the stories that you guys bring up every single week, because he was looking for somebody who could help him figure it out and take it to the next level. And that's when he called me, because he thought, oh, well, at least we've got a politician who's interested. And I was like, well, you know what? I know the best people in this market are you. And you guys just worked, 2 years you guys worked with him to get this all uncovered. It wasn't easy, was it?
Yeah, and that we had a great time doing it. But what was so unique with Jim is he never stopped doing it.
That's right.
He stuck with it. In fact, one of our training programs up in LaSalle here 6-8 months ago, whatever it was, there were dozens of people in that room, some of them that talked to Jim daily. One of them was on his radio show regularly. And they were all just elated because Jim had told them about us. And he continued to fight that good fight with local people on the street, making sure that they all had the support they needed. And that was just the kind of guy he was.
Yeah, no, I mean, he also was prior military as well. Very successful businessman, ran that radio show, The Inconvenient Truth, had a lot of followers as well. But I mean, just the fact that he wanted to solve things in his own backyard, and so many people just will turn their head and not get involved. Instead, he dug in and didn't give up. But I mean, it is funny because, like when Adam Andrzejewski died, right before that, I had, just called him to see if he would come on my radio program. Well, right before Jim Mason died, he called me, texted me, "Hey, Jeannie, I loved your radio show last week. Can you come on my program?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll come on." And then, lo and behold, he dies just all of a sudden. It's, too bad.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah. Okay, well, do you guys have anything else you wanted to share on this New Year's? What are you guys looking forward to in the new year?
Well, we're looking forward to giving plenty of classes on how to become a watchdog.
Oh, good. Do you have a schedule out?
Not yet. We're going to produce one within the next month or two.
Good. Yeah, because you guys can't do it all. You can't be running around the state of Illinois and, in fact, the country. Do you have anything planned outside of Illinois? I know you do watchdog events outside.
Maybe we need to go to Canada. Did you see the news on Trudeau that just popped on Fox News?
You sent it to me. He's going to step down?
Yes, they're expecting his resignation tomorrow.
Oh, my gosh. Well, that is the power of Trump. I mean,
Yep.
this guy could be a game changer. I don't know if you caught my earlier segment. I was talking with Scott Winslow, who is an expat now in Argentina, and just the reforms that in 1 year Milei has been able to put in Argentina to turn that economy around. I mean, just imagine if we can do the same thing in this, in our country with just, and I think, yeah, we have our economic issues, but honestly, we have our transparency issues. We have security issues more than anything.
Right.
Yeah. Lack of trust of government. Absolutely. All right. Well, we're going to leave it right there. I will be right back after this short break here. And we'll just close out the rest of the year with a little bit of what's coming up. I mean, we're looking forward to lots of good stuff under the Trump administration, lots more stories from the Watchdogs, and that's about all I got for you right now.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate my Watchdogs being on with me. You guys, we'll be back again next week with all new programming, of course, all new shows all the time, new content. I rarely play old stuff. In fact, I don't know that I ever have. So even if I'm gone, I give you new content. I gave you fresh content over the holiday. And if you missed my show, that was a recap of all the big stories, politically, economically, culturally, and financially, then you can go back and listen to that on the podcast listing under AM 560. Signing off for tonight, this is Jeannie Ives with The Real Story.
Just canceled a huge order leaving MyPillow with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss and your gain. For the first time ever, you'll get a standard classic MyPillow for wholesale prices, only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, they're going to offer their entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Get queen-size MyPillows for just $18.88. Upgrade to king-size for only $1 more. Get the body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.88. So go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever and receive free shipping on orders over $75. That's right. Get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88. They have never been offered this low before. They're limited quantities at this price, so the limit is going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY to get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88, the lowest price ever.
News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app. Or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
Bundle up. I'm Daria Albinger, Fox News. 1 week into the new year, a winter storm is blasting its way across the U.S., and it could impact people in 27 states. Fox Weather's Brandy Campbell in Louisville, Kentucky, with more.
Folks across this area dealing with a variety of different winter precipitations. Here in the Bluegrass State, people, they're seeing their first big snow of the year. The snow has actually stopped. We're seeing sleet, but also freezing rain coming down. We've had 7.7 inches of snow to fall here in Louisville. Freezing rain and sleet coming down. We're going to start to see that ice accumulating in this area. Now, I've spoken with Public Works in this area, talking to them about their plow operations. They said they were hoping to leave a layer of snow, so once the ice starts to accumulate, they can easily push it off, but they got more snow than they expected.
And the weather's been impacting flights across the U.S. FlightAware says over 1,600 have been canceled. Tomorrow marks 4 years since the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol.
The events of January 6, 2021 should not be rewritten or forgotten, President Biden's.